There's always a sense of excitement when a fresh Mustang comes along. Because, like the Mini or the E-Type Jag, it's one of those Hall of Fame cars.
So here we are with the new one. The question is where to drive it. Kind of lends itself to a bit of a road movie, really.
Yes, we need our own Nevada highway, our own Route 66. And here it is, the A15.
It's a magnificent bit of tarmac, the longest stretch of straight road in Britain, and it runs from Scunthorpe to Lincoln. I am a bit worried about this bit, though. But with being in an American car and everything, it's a corner.
The Mustang still holds the record for being the fastest-selling car of all time in America. It really is part of the landscape. In fact, back in the 1960s, the US Navy ran a recruitment ad that said the Beach Boys, apple pie, and the '67 Mustang. 3 things worth fighting for.
But that's not been the case for a while now, because frankly, the last few generations of Mustang have been a bit pony.
The problem is, whereas other muscle cars like the Charger had the good grace to die young, the Mustang has lived on.
And it's got tamer and weedier over the years until it's ended up as nothing more than a badge for the marketing men to sell.
This one, Ford reckon, will turn the pony back into a stallion once again. But on first impressions, you won't be bowled over, particularly if you're used to European cars.
Take the engine, for example. It's a 4.6-litre V8. That sounds like a lot, but it's not German. You get just 300 brake horsepower. That's hardly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
On paper, the figures look good. 0 to 60 in just under 6 seconds. But it just doesn't feel rapid. Mind you, that's not such a bad thing, because it's also got the most basic suspension this side of a stagecoach.
It's got a live rear axle. Now, forgive me if I get a bit technical here, but bear with me.
What it means is that the back wheels are connected basically by a girder. So what one wheel does, the other wheel does.
It's a bit like running around with your shoelaces tied together. There are better ways of getting about.
After a hard morning pounding the blacktop, I was hungry and pulled into a luxurious roadside diner.
Can I have, I'd like an all-day breakfast and a big mug of tea and eggs over easy. Actually, I've no idea what that means. Just cook them. Thank you.
And then it was here, in the car park of Sales Rep Saloon, that the Mustang started to make sense. I mean, parked up next to your average Euro box, it looks magnificent. And then the funeral heavies reminded me that it's also got some charming touches.
Now, there is a tradition in road movies that at some point the baddie in the muscle car locks another bloke in the boot. Well, they've thought of that, because look at this. This handle. Pull that and the boot opens from the inside, and look, that man is clearly running away. Eh? That's not how it would have happened in the old days. In the old days, you stayed locked in the boot with the spade until you got to the woods.
But if your murder victim has run away, here's a little detail to cheer you up.
Okay, with these controls, I can change the colour of the lights on the instrument binnacle. 125 colours to choose from. I didn't even know there were that many.
I was really warming to this car, and as the miles rolled by, its muscle car charm seduced me even more. It might be a bit of a simpleton, but it feels like it's regained some of that spirit of the old Mustang.
Yes, technically a European car would run rings round it, but come on, this has got such a sense of drama and of occasion, and it looks fantastic. It's a completely different beast. And it goes about its business like a proper muscle car too. If I stand on the accelerator, It doesn't just accelerate, it rears and snores. It's got a sense of theatre and of drama and of pantomime. It's an event. And you know, right now in America, the average time between one of these things going onto a dealer forecourt for sale and then being bought is 15 minutes. 15 minutes, and I'm not surprised.
Our road movie ends in Lincoln, which doesn't sound romantic. But actually, Lincoln is a bit of a surprise. It looks really pretty. And yet it's one of the cheapest places in Britain to live. And that brings us neatly to another good thing about the Mustang.
Because here we are, muscle car, looking like it does, with a V8 and all the toys inside and a Mustang badge. And it costs 25 to 30 grand. That's it.
And for an icon, that's a bit of a bargain.
This is a canoe, or kayak to be precise, and it's rubbish because it doesn't have an engine. But where there's a will,
there's always a way. This is the world's first engine-powered canoe. It took 2.5 years to make, and it's got a jet at the back, powered by the world's flattest two-stroke motor, which sits here, right where your bottom goes.
So where ordinary canoes can be overtaken by ducks, this one blasts across the water like a jet-propelled eel.
This amazing machine is the brainchild of Sean Baker, 9 times British whitewater freestyle champion and holder of 4 world records, including one for kayaking 65 feet down a sheer vertical waterfall.
Now, obviously, we wanted to find out if this jet-propelled canoe kayak is any good, which is why we've come here, to Iceland. In fact, we've come to one of the most incredible parts of an already generally amazing country, the Ice Lake. It's formed where a giant glacier meets a lagoon and then breaks apart to form a sea of, well, massive ice cubes.
So we're going to have a race, starting at one end of the lake and running roughly 2 miles to the finish line at the bridge where the lake meets the sea. I shall be using the roads along the edge.
Now, those roads are very tough and Icelandic, so I need a vehicle that's very tough and Icelandic.
It's called a Tomcat, and it's what happens when you take British engineering and garnish it with Icelandic levels of lunacy. It's got plastic body panels for super lightness, a 4-litre TVR V8 for super power, and a Range Rover chassis for super strength. Put all that together and you've got a 1.5-ton 4x4 that can outrun a Subaru Impreza rally car.
So, Sean, talk to me about danger. I'm presuming there's, well, quite a lot of it.
Well, when we're bombing around, the wake from the back of the boat's obviously snapping off little bits of ice, and that starts to float in the water. And if that gets sucked up in through the intake grate on the bottom of the boat and jams into the prop, it's just going to cut the engine out. And of course, it doesn't float, which isn't good.
And this isn't going to help you.
No, I'm going down.
So really, the biggest danger facing the jet-propelled kayaker is ice.
Is ice.
As I sat at the start, I still didn't quite believe that a jet-powered kayak would work. It did.
It's a bad start. I'm away now. The car is sashaying around. It's like a fine layer of stones on volcanic ash, which is very interesting on a geography field trip, but bloody scary to drive on. away from the lake now to find a path. He's got to go so much less distance than me.
Sean has his problems too. He's negotiating a maze of floating ice in search of open water, but the ice is constantly shifting and blocking his path.
Basically, if there's ice, he's had it. I hope there's ice. Ooh, that hurt. Come on!
Surely Sean must be tiring. His buttocks are being roasted by the engine, and the constant course adjustments are straining his arms.
I'm right back down by the water again. Yoo-hoo! Come on! I don't know where he is. I don't know where he is. He's there! Come on then, canoe boy! How fast does that thing go? Come on! I can't lose this! This is it, this is it, this is the bridge! Number one! No! I don't believe that!
See ya.
Where's an iceberg when you need one? Honestly. One of the many great things about the Mustang is that it really introduced drivers to the whole idea of options of speccing up your car. So when it first came out in the early 1960s, nobody wanted a Bogo standard one with a six-cylinder engine. They wanted ones like this, the GT390.
This is the Bullet Mustang, the one Steve McQueen hurled into movie history around the streets of San Francisco.
The GT390 is, in car terms, one of the seven wonders of the world. The noise, the presence.
Very, very few cars live up to their hype.
But this car does, and I should know, because this is my GT390.
And I'm using it to make a Mustang point. Everything that made it good, the engine, the lights, the stripes, was extra.
Basically, if you wanted a good one, you had to forget cheap and cheerful and go for the bells and whistles version. And that is what's been missing so far from the new one.
Until now. This is the Mustang GT 500. And from every angle you can see its muscle car biceps straining to burst out of the bodywork. It's also festooned with menacing cobra badges, a tribute to tuning legend Carroll Shelby.
Now, Shelby only ever put his name to the fastest and most powerful Mustangs, which means this thing has got to be more than just a fashion statement.
And it is.
Good God!
You see, this car has the supercharged V8 from the Ford GT.
Which means power goes up from 300 to 500 horsepower. 0 to 60, 4.9 seconds. 0 to 100, 10 seconds.
In America, the GT500 has gone down a storm. The queues are out of the door and round the block.
Now, if you wait your turn, you could put one of these on your drive in Britain for £35,000. Sounds tempting. Question is, should you? Let's start with the power. That 500 horsepower, it's a bit, you know, neat.
This is a rolling road. It's a sort of lie detector for engines and gives the true horsepower reading.
Genuinely looking forward to this. What's the score? Really? Right. So this GT500 actually makes 447. Almost. There you go, that seems fair enough. You know, thinking about it, while I've got the machine here, please don't hurt it. It had, when it was brand new, 325 horsepower. And I'm assured by the man who sold me it that this is a fine example of the breed. 250.
Anyway, back to the job in hand. And speaking of disappointments,
Multi-link geometry, dual rate remote reservoir dampers, fully independent rear suspension. These are just some of the things that this Mustang hasn't got.
no, what this car uses is a live axle, which, as rear suspension goes, is basically a whacking great girder with a wheel at each end.
It's not exactly the most modern layout. I think Noah's Ark had a similar setup.
Because the technology is old-fashioned, you can have some good old-fashioned fun. But when it all goes wrong, the Mustang becomes as precise and dynamic as, well, an ark. Now, Ford say they didn't give the GT500 modern suspension because it would have added $5,000 to the price of each car.
That is a ridiculous decision. You can't just give a car an extra 200 brake horsepower and then leave it with prehistoric suspension.
What you're left with, then, is a car that looks great and goes fast in a straight line. And that's it. But don't despair.
If you really want to spend 30 grand on a Mustang that looks good and goes fast in a straight line, then why not buy the one that has the pedigree and the history and makes a great noise? Buy this one. Well, not this one, obviously. It's a bit down on power. Yes, the 1,000 horsepower legend is back. And if I'm honest, I'm a bit nervous.
Not because of the car itself, but because of the burden that now rests on my shoulders.
Because when Jeremy drove the Veyron, all he had to beat was an incompetent James in a useless little aeroplane.
Then when James went to Germany and maxed it, the car didn't even break sweat.
But this time, the Veyron's honour really is at stake, because never before has it gone up against something like this.
The most modern, the most high-tech strike fighter on the planet. The Eurofighter Typhoon. And for once, when it comes to figures, the Bugatti really is well and truly top-trumped. Its twin engines develop 20,000 pounds of thrust each, punching the Eurofighter up to 65,000 feet and a top speed of over 1,500 miles an hour. This machine is the cutting edge of what a plane can do. It's actually designed to be aerodynamically unstable to make it as agile as possible in a dogfight. So it needs 70 computers to keep it in the air, and if they fail, it would simply fall out of the sky.
It's kind of a mix of science fiction and brute strength. These wings, for example, have to be able to take the stresses and strains of all those extreme high-speed maneuvers. So they might look all slim and dainty, but each one can take the weight of 35 Volkswagen Golfs.
All in all, quite a handy bit of kit, as you'd expect at 67 million a pop. Faced with the clear and present danger of the Eurofighter, the Bugatti Veyron really is the car world's best shot at clinging to some honour. And no one knows what the outcome will be. In fact, Bugatti is so concerned, they've sent over not one, but 2 Veyrons. Maybe they're going to tie them together or something. The shootout will take place here, on the main runway at RAF Coningsby in Lincolnshire.
And here's the challenge. It's a horizontal versus vertical drag race over 2 miles. Here's the start-finish line and the car and the plane. Yeah, it's difficult to get hold of models of a Veyron and a Eurofighter. They both start from here. The car will race down the runway for a mile. When it reaches the mile marker, turn as quickly as possible and then race back down over the same mile to cross the start-finish line here. Meanwhile, the plane will set off and take off as quickly as possible and cover a mile, vertically, obviously. When it's done the mile, it turns and swoops back down the same mile to cross the start-finish line, or to crash into a £1 million supercar that he didn't expect to see, and YouTube has a field day. Otherwise, his last one to finish is a vegetarian. Simple as that.
Now, you might think the plane is going to walk it, but don't be so sure.
The car should have the edge off the line. It'll do 0 to 100 in 5.7 seconds, for God's sake.
And when it gets to these yellow dots, which mark the mile point where it has to turn around, the Veyron has another advantage.
Down here, its awesome brakes should come into play.
And then there's the air brake as well, which on its own generates the same stopping power as you'd get in a normal hatchback.
Straight line is a straight line, so the car does what it does there. But up here, I've got to brake as late as possible and lose as little time as possible making the turn before the return mile. So I reckon it'll be won or lost here at this end. Traction control off. Gearbox to manual, launch control, left foot on brake, give it the full beans on the throttle. This is it.
Stand by 1, give me 20 seconds.
As drag races go, you will agree, this is quite a good one.
After just 18 seconds, I was doing 188 miles an hour and getting ready to brake for the mile turn.
That's as late as a dare. This is where it's won or lost. I'm on the return mile now. This is the best race in history. If I mess this one up, I may as well get a paper round.
I was doing 196 miles an hour, but was it enough?
I must still be ahead. I can't see the plane. No! No! I suspect I may get some abuse for this.
This is an airport. It's a place where you wait around a lot. But the waiting isn't just because of delayed planes.
No, the problem runs deeper than that. Everything that moves at an airport just takes an age. The tug that drags the plane to the gate crawls like a snail. The bendy bus that ferries the passengers to the plane is deathly slow. The catering truck is always late. The fuel truck just meanders about with no sense of urgency. And as for that little thing that drags the luggage around in a big train, well, maybe that's the reason why you always have to wait for a year at the luggage carousel.
Net result? Misery. In fact, some youngsters who check in to fly somewhere on a school trip often die of old age in the departure lounge. And that's an actual fact. Time then for Top Gear to step in. And in the same way we solve the bendy bus issue, we shall tackle this problem through the crucible of motorsport. So let's begin by assembling a selection of typical airport vehicles.
First up, the aircraft steps. Never there when you need them. Let's hope they can buck their ideas up a bit today. Then we have the thing that lugs the luggage around, complete with the luggage. The fuel tanker, heavy and full of stuff, fuel. Next, the bendy bus that ferries the passengers around. We're already pretty familiar with those. The fire engine. Absolutely no excuse for tardiness for that one. And the catering truck, always late, sometimes better if it didn't turn up at all. And finally, the heaviest beast of all, the aircraft tug.
So, there we are. A group of machines that normally trundle around at a snail's pace. But just think how much faster the whole airport experience would be if we could speed things up.
To show the airport bosses just what untapped potential these machines have, welcome to the inaugural Top Gear Various Airport Vehicles Motorsport Challenge Race. Challenge.
Our venue for this groundbreaking event is London's Heathrow Airport, just outside London.
Normally, it is a lot busier than this, but the people who run Heathrow closed it for the day, and they've moved all the jumbos and the terminals off to the side, out of shot. They have. That's what they've done.
So, with that taken care of, all I need now are some drivers.
Sadly, the airport ground staff just won't cut the mustard. But guess who I ran into in duty free?
Touring car legend Tom Chilton. Touring car legend Matt Neal. Touring car legend Matt Jackson. Touring car legend Gordon Shedden. Touring car legend Anthony Reid. And finally, truck racing legend Stuart Oliver. The drivers climbed into their chosen machines, leaving me with the fire engine.
I can't reach the switch. All of these vehicles have very different engines and what have you. And so whichever one wins today is the vehicle we will be recommending all future aircraft vehicles are based on, regardless of function or task. This is a pretty serious scientific experiment, so I have stressed to the other drivers in the strongest possible terms. Absolutely no body contact whatsoever.
Although the fire truck was incredibly noisy, on paper it had got winning potential.
The body is made largely of aluminium, like a Ferrari. It's got twin turbos, 725 horsepower. Yeah!
On the miner's side, however, it was still a fire truck.
I've got 8 tons of water on board. That's not helping acceleration.
Very soon, I was falling back.
The catering truck's ahead of me. The fuel truck's ahead of me. Oh no! I mean, what good would this be in an emergency situation if the bloody catering truck gets there before the fire engine?
And predictably, with me out of the way, the touring car boys were ignoring my strict no-contact rule. If I was to get back in and restore order, I needed to act fast.
Yeah, that'll do. Aha! I can't see where I'm going. Can't see. What's happened to the world?
But the crash diet did the trick.
Now I'm back in the race in my lightweight fire truck Superleggera. Yes!
Unfortunately, the other drivers weren't impressed with the new track conditions.
That's quite a tag slap from the bus! I am making a bit of a mess of Heathrow.
Several laps into the race and no clear winner was emerging.
The stairs in front of me now, well, they're a bit of an unknown quantity. Oh my God!
So, with great regret, I ordered the drivers to turn up the wick.
Maximum revs!
And pretty soon the results started to come, with the fuel tender taking a pretty serious kicking from the catering truck.
The fuel lorry is out. Whoa! We are doing this for you. Your next holiday, when it's a faster experience at the airport, is because we did this research.
With just 2 laps to go, the 29-ton tug and the luggage trolley were at the back in a fight of their own. And following an accidental maneuver by me,
Whoa!
the bendy bus was now crippled, meaning it was now all down to me, the catering truck, and the stairs. Correction, made that me and the catering truck, which, as we entered the final lap, had suddenly changed tactics.
Whoa! What's he done with that?
What he'd done with that was genius.
He's doing that to shed weight. That is very clever.
The lightweight catering truck shot into the lead.
Whoa!
But the racing driver, being a racing driver, had forgotten about the laws of physics.
truck out of it. That is good news indeed. There you go.
So, airports of the world, take note.